Record. We're on record in State versus Davis, C-377-407. Anything that we need to address outside the presence of the jurors?
Not from the state.
Okay. And we have Mr. Ladd
Yes.
ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we don't have to delay for him. Perfect. All right, we'll get the jurors lined up and we'll bring them in. They are lined up? Okay, perfect. And just so I'm aware, 1 o'clock tomorrow is the plan?
Yes. 1 o'clock tomorrow. I think this is our last witness for today. I don't know how long it's going to take, but
Okay. So once I have them recess after this witness, we'll tell them to come back at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
And are we still starting noon on Thursday?
That's the idea. If you guys are ready at that time, so you guys can talk about it and let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
Stand for the jury.
So the parties stipulate to the presence of the jury.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may all be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you liked lunch. We are still in the state's case in chief. Mr. Palal, you're standing up, so I assume you're calling your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. State calls Robert Ladd.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Robert Ladd, ROBERT, LADD.
You may proceed, Mr. Palal.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Ladd.
How you doing, sir?
Sir, can you tell us a little bit about your employment?
Yes, I'm retired now, but I was a police officer for 32 years.
Where did you start your career?
I started in 1983 when I was hired by the city of Compton.
And what was your initial position with the city of Compton?
A patrol officer.
And then did you change positions at some point?
Yes, when I was a patrol officer for several years, and that really was my beginning introduction into the world of the Crips and Bloods, because most of the radio calls that we got in Compton revolved around gang activity. So I got to learn there, the way they dressed, the territories, how to read graffiti, and then in 1988 I was promoted to the gang unit.
And for our edification, how big is Compton?
Compton's a 10 square mile city. It had a population of 100,000 people, and we had 55 active gangs in this little 10 square mile city.
And is it fair to say that most of the gangs were affiliated either with the Crips or Blood or Mob and various subsets of those types of groups?
Yes, it was basically Crips, Pirus, and Hispanic gangs.
Okay.
Mr. Palal, you've reminded me that this may be a good time to read the Tavares instruction.
You're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear testimony regarding drug trafficking, conspiracy, federal convictions, as well as gang affiliation. These are not offered to show the defendant's propensity to commit crime or any other improper purpose, and you may not consider it for those purposes. It is only offered to establish the credibility of his prior statement, the statements made by defendant, motive, and identity. You may proceed, Mr. Palal.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, and then tell us a little bit about your career in terms of, you said in 1983 you became a patrol officer and you were patrolling Compton, which had you responding to a lot of gang-related calls. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
And then you ultimately go to the gang unit. Is that correct?
Yes.
And were you assigned a partner?
Yes, my partner was Tim Brennan.
And then who was the lieutenant in charge of the gang unit at that time?
Lieutenant Reggie Wright Sr.
During your time as a gang detective, did you also respond to a lot of gang activity in Compton?
Yes, when I got into the gang unit in 1988, Compton was a very violent city. We were averaging 70 to 80 homicides a year and hundreds of shootings. So my responsibilities now were to investigate all gang-related crimes, gather intelligence, and photograph and identify gang members. And I also went out on a daily basis and tried to contact gang members and talk to them when I arrested them. And also I tried to talk to them out in the field so I could kind of build a rapport with these gang members out there.
Okay, so you'll have to forgive me, but when I think of a officer or detective rolling through Compton and trying to start up a conversation with a gang member, it seems weird to me that the gang member would want to interact with you at all. Like, how did you develop that rapport?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes several years. You just gotta treat them fair, and you have to talk to them like you'd want to be talked to. And we didn't sweat them on the small stuff. We let patrol kind of do that. For instance, if they were out there just drinking some beer or smoking some marijuana or whatever, we'd come up and we'd talk to them and say, man, we're not going to sweat you on that stuff. And so over time they say, all right, this guy's pretty cool, we'll talk to him.
And then your partner, Tim Brennan, he ultimately was given a nickname Blondie, is that right?
Yes, DJ Quick wrote an underground song about it, and it was called Blondie. So everybody in the Compton knew my partner as Blondie. He kind of became famous over it.
Can you tell me a little bit about any type of gang training that you've given as somebody who has dealt with Bloods and Crips in Compton specifically?
Yes, it was from 2001 to about 2010 that my partner Tim and I, we taught at many national seminars right here in Vegas and in California also. And this is where thousands of police officers come from all over the country as well as around the world to learn about the Crips and Bloods. And so we taught them about that.
You had mentioned that in a city as small as 100,000 people, you would have somewhere between 50 to 60 or more homicides a year and then additional hundreds of shootings. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about the volume of these types of cases? Were they mostly gang-related shootings and homicides?
Most of them were, yes. And in 1993, I was promoted to gang homicide detective and started handling all the gang homicides, too. And I did this till the year 2000. And so I spent 12 straight years in the gang unit. And during that time, I handled hundreds of homicide cases and thousands of shootings. And I actually talked to thousands of gang members, and I got to know really the way they talk, the way they think, the way they act, basically their overall mentality about gang life in general.
I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the difficulties associated with investigating gang cases. As somebody who did hundreds of investigations and homicides and thousands of shootings, did gang cases in particular present investigatory problems?
Absolutely. Gang cases, they're the hardest to solve. especially in Compton, because there's a code out in the street where you're not supposed to talk to the police, you're not supposed to go to court, or you get labeled a snitch. And the other problems that we have is that the good citizens that actually see what happened and want to come forward, they're afraid to. They get intimidated by these gangsters, and so it's really hard. We really don't have any witnesses, so we kind of rely on a lot of informants to get our information out there in the streets.
And then you mentioned relying on informants, but is it fair to say that if somebody wants to, if a case needs to be prosecuted or brought to court, somebody can't remain a confidential, reliable informant. They actually have to reveal who they are.
That's true.
And as part of your investigating homicides and shootings, was that a problem to get people to come forward and testify as opposed to giving you information on background?
Yes, it's very difficult because when they come to court, if you can get them to come to court, they don't want to get involved. They don't want to say anything, so they're not cooperating. So.
And you said being labeled a snitch was something that was frowned upon. In your training and experience, were there any other types of consequences for people who are labeled snitches in Compton, California, in gang life?
Absolutely. These guys take the code very seriously, and if you get labeled a snitch, it's probably the worst thing that can happen to you as a gang member. You're probably going to have to leave the state if you want to get, if you don't want to get severely beaten down all the way up to getting murdered. So they take it very seriously.
Now, I'm going to ask you now about a gang in particular. I'm going to ask you about, I'm going to ask you about the Southside Compton Crips. During your time in Compton, California, were you familiar with the Southside Compton Crips?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell us a little bit about the Southside Compton Crips?
Yes, the Southside Crips, they're located in the southeast portion of our city, and they're one of our larger gangs. It's probably a half mile in every direction. There was an excess of 100 documented active gang members at the time, and they identified themselves by wearing the color blue. So when you contacted a Southside Crip member, he's going to have something blue on, a blue shoestrings, a blue rag, anything blue identifies him with being a Crip gang member. And also the Southside Crip members adopted the Seattle Mariners baseball cap. It's a blue cap, it had an S on it, and to them the S stood for Southside Crips.
Now, I'm going to direct your attention to specifically the mid-90s, 1995, 1996. Were you familiar with somebody by the name of Duane Davis?
Yes.
Were you aware, was he somebody that was a high-ranking person in that gang or a low-ranking person in that gang?
Well, as high as you can get, yeah.
Now, what are the different levels of gangsters in Southside, or just general gangs? Are there different levels?
Yes, there's definitely a hierarchy within the black gangs in Compton. There's really 3 phases that these guys go through. The first phase is the BG, or baby gangster phase. And this is the time when they're just joining a gang, and usually, most of the time, not all the time, they get jumped in. And by getting jumped in, you have to show how tough you are. So it probably lasts about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, where 5, 6, 7 gang members are going to try to beat this guy up, and he's got to fight with them to show how tough he is. And if he passes, he gets to join the gang. And these are the ages between 12, 13 to 15 and 16. And this is the beginning stages, so they're out there doing low-level crime, such as graffiti, selling drugs for the older gang members, and being lookouts.
And then is there a level above that?
Yeah, the next level we call the gangster phase, and that's from the ages from 15 to 16 to about 25 or 26. Now this is a stage where these guys do the most violence. They're the ones out there that are committing the drive-by shootings and murders and robberies and carjacking. What they're trying to do is they're trying to earn their stripes for the gang so they can get kind of respect within the gang. So this is the most violent time for these gangsters.
And then is there another level in the hierarchy?
Yes, the last level is ages 25 to 26 on up. And these are the guys that, a lot of them went to prison during their gangster phase, and a lot of them are getting older now, and they put in the work. They call it earning their stripes within the gang. They're getting their respect now. They're the older gangsters. And these guys become the leaders or shot callers of the gang. And they tell the younger officers what to do. And again, they take this very seriously. If the OGs tell younger gangsters what to do, they do it without hesitation. If they don't, there's going to be severe consequences. I've seen all the way from severe beatdowns all the way up to murder.
Right. Now, in that hierarchy, so we have baby gangsters, just, what was the middle one called? Just gangsters?
Just
Gangsters, and then like OGs. Did you happen to know in the mid-90s where Duane Davis stood in that hierarchy?
Yes, he was a shot caller.
You know what I mean, approach?
You may.
All right, so you're saying that Mr. Davis was a shot caller within the Southside Compton Crips.
Absolutely, yes.
And what does that mean?
Well, he could tell the younger gangsters what to do, and if they don't listen, like I just said, there's going to be severe consequences. The younger gang members are supposed to do what they're told without hesitation.
Now, were you aware of whether or not Mr. Davis was a narcotics trafficker?
Yes, he was definitely a high-level narcotics dealer. Compton, we were a small city, and we didn't have the manpower or the resources to go after a major narcotics dealer like Mr. Davis. But during my time in the gang unit, we were approached by two different agencies, the FBI task force, really, the DEA and FBI task force, and they would come to us because they wanted information on Mr. Davis's fellow gang members who he hung around with. And basically they would tell us that he's trafficking narcotics across the United States all the way to the East Coast.
Now, I want to talk a little bit more about Mr. Davis. Would you see him sometimes in Compton?
Yes, many, many times I've seen Mr. Davis.
And can you, do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I.
Can you please point him out and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
Yeah, he's a male black sitting at the end of the table wearing, it's either gray or black suit.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the identification of the defendant in this case?
It will.
All right, and how would Mr. Davis dress in normal, like, gangster attire, like you were talking about before, or would he dress differently?
No, in his later years after he became a leader, whenever I'd see him, he'd be nicely dressed. Have the brim hat on, and he wouldn't have anything gangster-like on. He was always well dressed.
I'm going to ask you now about somebody by the name of Orlando Anderson. Were you familiar with Mr. Anderson?
Yes, I was very familiar with Mr. Anderson. I had many, many contacts with him.
Okay, and can you tell us how you first became aware of Mr. Anderson's involvement in gang activity, if such activity existed?
Yes, I guess you could say I was there for his initiation into the gang. My partner Tim Brennan and I, we were at a fast food restaurant getting something to eat. We're in the drive-thru, and this particular restaurant was right adjacent to the Southside Crip territory, and there's an alley that runs just adjacent to it. So as we got our food, and we were driving out of the fast food restaurant, and all of a sudden we heard a barrage of shots. We can hear them hitting our car. Then we heard about 5 or 6 shots, right? So after the shots stopped, we looked at each other, jumped out of the car, made sure we were all right, and we ran to where the shots were coming from. And witnesses were pointing down the street, and I saw 3 male blacks running down towards a known gang hangout. So these guys ran in there. We called the troops. We subsequently arrested Orlando Anderson and 2 other people, and during their interviews they said that was part of their initiation. They didn't have to be jumped in if they tried to kill me and my partner. So they were automatically in the gang, and Orlando Anderson wasn't the shooter during this incident.
Was not.
Was not.
Okay. Now, were you familiar? Well, did Orlando Anderson, to your knowledge, have any relation to Duane Davis?
Yes, we found out that it was Orlando Anderson was Keith's nephew. I'm sorry.
That's fine. And Keefe is what Mr. Davis went by?
Yeah, Keefe D.
Yeah, Keefe D. Is that kind of how you're used to referring to Mr. Davis?
Yeah, I kind of know by their nicknames, really.
Okay. And then, were you also familiar with somebody by the name of Terrence Bubble Up Brown?
Yes. Had many contacts with Mr. Brown. He was kind of an older gangster, call him a wobbler. I still considered him in the gangster phase, but he kind of was a little older too.
And I guess in the mid-'90s, what phase or what level would you say Orlando Anderson was?
Definitely gangster phase.
And then, did he go by any nicknames that you're aware of, Orlando Anderson?
Yes, Baby Lane.
And then, were you familiar with somebody by the name of DeAndre Smith?
Yes, DeAndre Smith, many contacts with him. Again, admitted to me, he's a Southside Crip member. His nickname was Big Dre.
Why was he called Big Dre?
Because he was a big man. He was like 6'4", probably 300 pounds. He was a big guy.
Were you also familiar with gang called Mob Piru?
Yes.
Can you tell us about Mob Piru?
Yes, they're a gang in the city of Compton, and they're located in the northeast portion of our city. Their gang used to be called the Looters Park Piru. That was their territory. In about 1975 or 76, a group of kids over there wanted to start their own gang and have their own territory, so they started at Mob Piru, which stands for Members of Bloods. Now, their area is probably a quarter mile in each direction, and there's probably 45 to 50 active gang members in this gang. Also, and they identify themselves by wearing the color red. So, and just like the Crips wore anything blue, the Pirus or Bloods wear everything red.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the flare-up between Mob Piru and Southside Crips, but even before any of the music or any of the particular 1990s issues that we're here to discuss, would it be fair to say that Mob Piru and Southside Crips were natural rivals?
Yes, the Bloods and Crips never got along since they originated way back in the early 70s. They're kind of like just natural enemies because one wears red and one wears blue.
Were you familiar with whether or not Mob Piru associated with any particular record label in the mid-'90s?
Yes, Death Row Records.
And do you know who ran Death Row Records at the time?
Yes, Suge Knight.
And were you familiar with Suge Knight prior to his ascension in Death Row Records?
Yeah, we had contact with him before, but not many, because he really wasn't a gang member. He didn't really hang out, but he grew up in that neighborhood.
I'm going to ask you about some of the people that you would associate with Mob Piru. Earlier, I think now it's last week, we met with somebody named James McDonald. Are you familiar with James McDonald?
Yes, very.
Do you recall what his nickname was?
Yes, Mob James.
Now, would you go to the McDonald house in Mob Piru territory?
Yes, Mob James's house was kind of like the main hangout for the Mob Piru, Looters Park, Piru. He had two younger brothers, Buntry and Timmy Rue. So this was the main hangout for the Mob Pirus, and we would go there. If you wanted to find a Mob Piru, that's the first place you'd look. So we had many run-ins at this Mob James house.
And were you familiar with somebody by the name of Trayvon Lane?
Yes.
And should publish States Exhibit 60. Do you recognize the person depicted in States Exhibit 60?
Yes, that's Trayvon Lane. His nickname's Trey, and he's a member of the Mob Piru.
Are you familiar with somebody by the name of Roger Williams?
Yes, I am. His nickname is Neckbone, and he's also a member of the Mob Piru.
No, actually, I think I skipped something with Trayvon Lane. You had talked about the 3 levels of being a gangster. What level would you say Trayvon Lane was in the mid-90s?
Gangster.
Okay, so like the middle, most violent level.
Yes,
And then with in the mid-90s, what level was Roger Williams?
definitely gangster.
In the mid-90s, what level was Mob James McDonald?
I would consider him an OG.
And then in, you'd mentioned Buntry. Is that Alton McDonald?
Yes, it is.
And in the mid-90s, what level would you describe him?
Gangster.
And then are you, now in that neighborhood, same neighborhood, there was a person that lived there or grew up there named Reggie Wright Jr. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Were you familiar with Reggie Wright Jr.?
Very. Yes.
And when you say very, how are you familiar with Reggie Wright Jr.?
Well, he used to work at the Compton Police Department. He was a jailer, and then he went to be a full-time police officer, I think, in around 1988. He was only there for like 5 years because he got injured and had to retire.
Now, I'm going to ask you something, I guess, culturally about gang life. How important is one's reputation in the gang world?
Very. It's these guys live for respect. That's how they live their lives.
And then, if somebody felt as though they were disrespected, what would you expect them to do?
They have to retaliate. If a gang member is disrespected, they have to retaliate, or they're considered a punk out in the streets. And if you get considered a punk out in the streets, you kind of lose your respect and credibility.
And what's the consequence of losing your respect and credibility in the streets?
Well, I mean, no, you're going to be nothing in that gang, really.
And then, we talked about the hundreds of murders that you've investigated and the thousands of shootings you've investigated. Was retaliation experience or a motive for those shootings or murders?
Yes. I've investigated like 1,000 crimes, and I would say 90% of them are because of disrespect. And so when you get disrespected as a gang member, you can expect some retaliation.
Now, you heard gathering intelligence about this Lakewood Mall incident. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But you weren't there, were you?
No.
And just so we're all clear, Lakewood Mall, is that in Compton?
No, it's several miles out of Compton.
And so that wouldn't be something for you to investigate?
No.
But as a gang expert and a gang investigator, what to you is the significance of somebody trying to rip off a gang member's chain?
Well, it's definitely disrespect, especially the chain that they were trying to take at the Lakewood Mall. It was a highly prized medallion, and these guys wore it like a badge of honor. So them to try to steal this chain and beat up this subject, it would be a major display of disrespect. So now this guy's got to go back to the Mob Piru and Death Row Records and tell them what happened. So the next time they see each other, it's going to be on site. As soon as they see each other, some confrontation is going to happen.
And you had said that we're talking about the chain. We're talking about that death row chain. Is that right?
Yes.
And you had mentioned that they were wearing it with great pride. By they, who are you talking about?
The entourage of Suge Knight. That's Trayvon Lane. Well, back in '95, Suge Knight gave these out as Christmas presents to his entourage, like just Trayvon, Neckbone, Buntree. They gave one to Reggie Wright Jr. So not too many people had him at this time. So it was a prized possession to these guys.
Now, I'm going to take you forward to September 7th of 1996. You become aware of a shooting that occurs out here in Las Vegas, September 7th, 1996. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How do you become aware of the shooting that occurred here on September 7th, 1996?
Well, I was at home, and I get a call from my boss, who's Reggie Wright Sr., and he tells me that, hey, Suge Knight and Tupac were just shot. Tupac's in critical condition, and get ready because it's coming back to Compton. He told me that they thought the Southside Crips were responsible for the shooting.
And so when he's telling you this, do you now have to have a response to this? Or why is he telling you specifically to get ready?
Because when you disrespect and shoot the biggest rap mogul on the planet and the biggest rap star on the planet, and he surrounds himself with the mob Piru, then there's going to be some sort of retaliation. And all these guys were from Compton. So when they got back to Compton, we expected a war.
And was there a war?
There definitely was a war.
Can you tell us about that? So in the immediate aftermath of the Tupac Shakur shooting, did you notice an uptick in violence in Compton?
Yes, 2 days after Tupac was shot was our first shooting. One of the OGs was at a store on Alondra Boulevard in Compton, and he was shot in the back several times, and a 10-year-old little girl got caught in the crossfire, and she was hit, and she was in critical condition. And the guy that was shot was a Southside Crip member, and again, he was a shot caller for the Southside Crips. His name was Darnell Brim.
Okay, and we've heard Darnell Brim's name before here, but was Darnell Brim part of the same subgroup of the Southside Crips as Duane Davis?
No, he was a Southside Crip gang member like they all were, but there was two factions of it. There was a group called the Burst Crew, which Mr. Davis ran, and then there was a Glencoe crew that Darnell Brim ran.
And is it fair to say that at some point there was a conflict between the two groups that caused the factionalization?
Yes, they used to be one big happy family, but there was a disagreement over drugs, or some drugs were stolen from one of the Burst Crew members, and that's when they split apart. They start fighting with each other, and they split apart into two different factions.
Now, in your understanding of gang culture, would Mob Piru, if they're seeking retaliation, would they be discerning about which crew or which part of the Southside Compton Crips they were shooting at, or would it just be you find a Southside Crip and then you start shooting?
Yeah, they don't care. When they go hunting for somebody, they don't care which faction he's from. If he's a Southside Crip member, or they're going to go after him.
Now, certainly that wasn't the only shooting that occurred in the immediate aftermath of the Tupac Shakur shooting. Is that correct?
That's correct. We had 3 murders and 10 attempted murder drive-by shootings that happened within a 10-day period in Compton.
And is that when, and were those shootings going back and forth related to Mob Piru and Southside Crips?
Yes.
So, I mean, you had mentioned earlier, there's 53 or 50 plus gangs in this 10 square mile radius. But during this particular heightened sense of violence, that what was happening was the shooting back and forth between mob Piru and Southside Crips.
Yes, but basically what it told me as a gang investigator right after the first shooting of Darnell Brim, to me there was no doubt in my mind that the Southside Crips were responsible, because the mob Piru had to retaliate, and they had 54 other gangs to choose from, but they went right after the Southside Crips. So there's no doubt in mind who was responsible for shooting Tupac. Shouldn't I?
Now, as a result of this, in October, you and your partner Tim Brennan put together a multi-house search warrant.
That is correct.
And what was the purpose of this search warrant?
Well, we had two purposes, really. One, there was a war in the city of Compton, and innocent people were getting shot as well as gang members, and so we wanted to put a stop to that. So by hitting houses on both sides, both the Pirus and the Crips, and we wanted to quell the violence and try to stop it. The other reason was we wanted to try to help Las Vegas PD with their investigation of the shooting of Tupac and Shakur.
And when you said you wanted to help the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department in their investigation of who shot Tupac and Shakur, can you elaborate more on how you believed this search warrant might help Metro in its investigation?
Yes, the way we handle gang-related homicides is when we did these search warrants, we'd find a reason, hopefully, to arrest them. We'd find guns or narcotics in their house, and then we'd bring them down to the station. So you would have all the players that were involved, like that we heard about, that was involved in the shooting of Tupac Shakur. So we rounded them all up, and hopefully Las Vegas PD would come down and try to interview them, try to get one of them to cop out, or to try to put them in Las Vegas, whatever they want to do on their investigation of the murder. We rounded up all the people for them, so that's how we helped them.
So the search warrant served two purposes. You have an active war going on, and you're trying to slow the violence in Compton, but you're also thinking, well, maybe we can get some of the folks who we think might be involved in the Tupac shooting to start talking as well.
Correct.
Did Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department send detectives out here for that purpose? Or out there for that purpose?
Yes, they sent 2 detectives.
Now, with regards to the search warrant itself, were a number of firearms recovered as well?
Yes.
And was part of the goal that maybe not only just take the guns off the street for the Compton war, but was there a hope that maybe the firearm for the Tupac Shakur murder might be recovered as well?
That's correct also.
It's fair to say that that did not happen.
That's correct.
You know, I'm actually going to approach with State's proposed exhibit number 161.
You may.
I'm showing you what's proposed State's exhibit number 161.
I got to get my glasses on.
No problem.
Okay.
Do you recognize what's in what State's proposed exhibit 161 is?
Yes, it's a search warrant.
And can you open it up and look through it? Do you recognize the search warrant?
Yes, I do. It was a search warrant that we prepared. Well, Tim wrote after the Tupac shooting.
And was it? Did you assist him in the investigation that led up to the search warrant?
Yes.
And did you assist him in giving him the information in order to get the probable cause?
Definitely, yes.
And then did you also assist in executing that search warrant?
Yes.
Now, State's going to move State's proposed exhibit 161 to evidence.
Any objection, Mr. Snap?
No objection.
So admitted.
Now, there's been some allegation that the Compton Police Department was only focused on the Southside Crips when it came to trying to stop this war and stop this violence. Is it fair to say that among the houses that were searched included a large number of mob Piru houses along with Southside Crips houses?
Yes, definitely. We hit many houses on both sides.
And is it fair to say that is a total of 38 residences that were looked into?
Yes.
And to include members of Mob, Piru, and Southside Compton Crips?
Yes.
Now, permission to approach, Your Honor?
No.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibits 162 and 163. Do you recognize what these are?
Yes.
What are they?
These are evidence that we collected at the scene.
Okay. And without going into the addresses, is it fair to say that these were evidence that were collected from Duane Davis's house and Duane Davis's family's house?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to move State's Exhibits 162 and 163 to evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
So admitted.
Okay, I'm going to first turn your attention to State's Exhibit 162. Can you finish that?
Yeah, you just want me to avoid the address, though, right? We have to avoid the address, so maybe take it off me. Jessica, maybe take it off me while it comes up, so we can avoid the address itself. What page do you want?
The fourth page, please. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Can you do the second page first?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so this is the first address we're going to talk about here. And again, we're not going to go into what the actual address is, but do you recognize the people that are listed that were located at the address?
Yes.
And fair to say they were members of Mr. Davis's family?
Yes.
Now I'm going to turn your attention to the next page. And under on line number 5, do you see what's listed there as the receipt?
Yes.
And line number 5 is one hotel's receipt. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then line number 6 is one Compton Municipal Court subpoena. Is that correct?
Yes.
Then I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 163, if we can take it off us for a second.
Give me half a second here. Sorry, can we approach? I think you just got to show it to him, Mr. Paul. I don't think we can put it up.
Okay.
This is what it says.
So I'm showing you page 3 of State's Exhibit 163. Can you tell us what this document actually is?
Yeah, it's a receipt for property taken.
And then it actually mentions who is taking some of the property here, doesn't it?
Yes.
And who's that?
Myself.
Okay. And then one is a letter from the Excalibur Casino, is that correct?
Yes.
And then the other is an envelope addressed to Orlando Anderson, is that correct?
Yes.
And then the third is miscellaneous bills addressed to Orlando Anderson as well, is that correct?
Yes.
And all these 3 items were collected by you. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So from Mr. Davis's home, and well, we'll start with 163. We have from Mr. Anderson's home, we have a receipt from the Excalibur. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then and is part of the reason why you're collecting that receipt is because it's relevant to the investigation as to who shot Mr. Shakur?
Yes, we thought it might be significant that it showed that Mr. Davis was in Las Vegas at the time of the shooting.
I guess in this one's Mr. Anderson, correct?
Yeah.
And then from Mr. Davis's house, there's also a receipt, a hotel receipt that was collected. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to approach. I'm going to show you states 160, and we're not going to talk about the addresses specifically, but the 2 addresses attributed to Mr. Anderson and Mr. Davis. One is at the top, and then one is at the bottom with a red dot. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's fair to say that they are very close to each other.
Yes.
I'm going to move 160 to evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
So admitted.
Were you, so Mr. Anderson, was he one of the people that was caught up during the search warrants, this 38 house search warrant?
Yes.
And was Mr. Davis around during the 38 house search warrant?
No, we couldn't locate him.
So you were able to locate Mr. Anderson, but Mr. Davis was just not around.
Correct.
And you don't know why or how that is.
That's correct.
But with regards to Mr. Anderson, it's fair to say Mr. Anderson at that point is a person of interest, at least, in the shooting of Mr. Shakur.
Definitely, yes.
And then at that point, do you make him available for questioning with Detective Becker from LVMPD?
Yes.
And does Mr. Becker make an attempt to question Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
And did any useful or relevant information come out during the course of that questioning?
Not that I was aware of.
Now, let's fast forward a little bit. During, you were aware that 6 months later, Christopher Wallace, also known as the Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, he was killed in Los Angeles. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, was that in the Compton area?
No.
And so, were you responsible for the investigation into Christopher Wallace?
No.
But did you end up assisting the LAPD in trying to execute search warrants in an attempt to gather information on the murder of Christopher Wallace?
Yes.
And why were you the person, or you and Mr. Brennan the person that LAPD would ask for assistance?
Because we knew who all the players were, and we told them at the time that they had a little internal feud going with each other, and we were getting ready to do search warrants on them.
So you were getting ready to, they were having an internal feud. Is it fair to say that the 1997 search warrant served a dual purpose in a similar way that the 1996 search warrant served?
Yes.
So like in 1996, you have a war between Mob Piru and Southside Crips, and you're also trying to see if you can get any information related to the Tupac Shakur murder. Is that fair?
Correct. Yes.
And then in 1997, you had mentioned that there was an internal feud that had gotten violent. Is it fair to say that the Burris Street crew and the Glencoe Street crew on the Southside Compton Crips, that they had started engaged in their own violent feud?
Yes, definitely.
And as a result, and at that same time, there was some question as to whether or not members of the Southside Crips may be involved in the murder of Christopher Wallace.
Correct.
And so, were those two goals, or those two functions, part of the reason or the basis for executing the search warrants.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to show you what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit 136. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 136?
Yes. This is a search warrant we did on.
And we're not going to talk about addresses by agreement, but it's a search you did on a different house from the houses that you did in 1996. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this is a different residence that was associated with Mr. Davis. Is that fair?
Yes.
Page 4 of 136.
It's not actually 136, but it is. Just give me a second.
In court's indulgence, Your Honor, we're just pulling that up.
Sure.
Jessica, you can put it on me.
And Mr. DiGiacomo, do you mind zooming in a little bit?
Yeah, if I can figure out how to make the Zoom work on this. Oh, that didn't work. Let's see if that works. The Zoom tool's not working.
Well, Mr. Ladd, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. It's going to be up there, but I want to show you page 4 of 136. It's still up there on the screen as well. On page 4, we have another receipt of property taken. Is that right?
Yes.
And on line 4, what do we have?
See. A money due bill for the Monte Carlo Casino.
Now, in relation to this search warrant as well as the other search warrant, really you can only take property that would be related to the investigation, correct?
Correct.
So, like, if I couldn't take just any random property just because I have a search warrant, can I?
No.
You have to take things that are related to the actual search warrant.
Correct.
Now, I am going to ask you, did you spend, you said you had worked at Compton till about, actually, let me rephrase. How long did you work at the city of Compton for?
From 1983 to 2001. I'm sorry, 2000.
Okay. Is it fair to say that at some point the Compton Police Department got swallowed up by the LA Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
And did you stay with? Did you sign on to the LA Sheriff's Office after that?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately how many of the Compton police officers stayed with the LA Sheriff's Office? Okay.
Go ahead if you want.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't want it to be like yesterday where we keep on interrupting each other. And do you recall how many of the Compton police officers were hired on by the LA Sheriff's Office when LA Sheriff's Office took over Compton Police Department?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact number. I think there was like 103 of us, and I think all but 2 were hired by the Sheriff's Department.
Now, you ultimately left the LA Sheriff's Office, is that correct?
Yes.
And then where did you go to work after that?
I lateraled over to an agency, Garden Grove PD in Orange County.
Probably a little bit safer than the Compton Police Department.
You could say that, yes. It was still a busy city, but it wasn't nothing like Compton.
And then during that time period is when you started giving talks with Detective Brennan regarding your experience working blood and Crip gangs in Compton.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that Detective Brennan is no longer with us?
Yes, he passed away of cancer several years ago.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'd forgotten about one of the murders I wanted to talk, or one of the shootings I wanted to talk to you about during the war that escalated immediately after the shooting of Tupac Shakur. So I'm going back a little bit, and I apologize for that.
No problem.
One of the people that was shot was a man by the name of Bobby Finch. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Bobby Finch was actually killed on September 11th. Is that fair?
Yes.
Where did Bobby Finch live in relation to Corey Edwards?
Next door.
Was Bobby Finch a gang member?
No.
Was Corey Edwards a gang member?
Yes.
And what gang did he belong to?
Southside Crips.
And do Bobby Finch and Corey Edwards look alike?
Yes, they did.
Steel pass witness.
Does anyone need to use the restroom before we get into cross? Seeing no hands, Mr. Stampt. Oh. We're good? You're good? Restroom. Okay, perfect. All right. During this recess, you're admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected to the trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report or commentary on the trial of any person connected with this case by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspaper, television, the internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected with the trial until the case is submitted to you. We'll have you guys back here at, let's say, 2:15. Please rise for the jury. For the record, the jury has exited the room. Will be